Hello. Yeah, I'll be brief. So, my name is Joshua Armah. My whole background is I'm a multi-hyphenate problem solver. My focus is in impact investing through private equity to bring regenerative solutions to businesses. My impact work is embedded in businesses. I spent 15 years in AI. I scaled 2 startups and exited them. Now I'm focused on integrating regenerative design in high growth companies, part of which is transitioning AI into the workforce, impact, and also citizen resilient communities. So with that being said, I've been a part of a lot of sustainable projects. The biggest and most important to me is what we're doing here at this conference, which is gathering people like yourselves together to address the needs of the country and the world. So that's it for me.
Gorgeous.
Great.
Greg.
What was the question? I wasn't paying attention.
We know you, so to say hello.
Hi, I'm Greg Apodaca, and I'm damn glad to be here. It's, I guess to reintroduce myself, I'm an activist. I've been actively trying to improve our community for over 3 decades, mostly focusing on personal transformation and the ability of each other, individually and collectively, to transform ourselves to meet the urgent challenges, humongous challenges that we're facing. So that's me.
Yeah. Manari.
Yo soy Manari,
I'm Manari.
soy de Amazonía,
I'm from Amazon,
de Ecuador,
Ecuador.
y soy nacionalidad Sapara.
My nationality is Sapara.
Yo lo que hago es ayuda a entender a las personas
What I do is to understand the people,
y cómo vivir con mundo de los sueños
how to live with a dream world,
y entender
and understanding
primero uno mismo y después a los demás.
first ourselves, and then we be able to understand everybody else.
Entonces trabajo con mundo de los sueños.
Then I work with a dream world. Beautiful, thank you. So, our topic, world we must create and solving humanity's greatest challenges. I've got 3 quotes about the future here, and I'd like it's a slight no-brainer, but let's start with that. Here are 3 quotes for you. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. George Orwell. Eleanor Roosevelt said the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And yesterday, Nancy Baker Cahill, in what I thought was an unbelievably lucid and brilliant speech, said, imagining a better future is much better than condemning the one that we face. So I'm going to ask each of you to talk with very specifically, we know that the greatest challenge, existential challenge we face is the climate crisis. It's why we're all here. But what do each of you see as the greatest challenges? And I'm going to, remembering that brevity is the soul of wit, and we've got a huge topic to cover, let's make these answers quick, because there's so much to talk about, I feel. Greg, do you want to start?
Sure. I guess for me it comes down to our willingness to step up to these huge challenges. I think most of us, we have this lizard brain operating system in our brains, so that says that if there's not some big tiger, chasing us to eat us, as what happened in the savannas all those years ago, that the best thing that we can do is to rest and reserve our strength, so when another tiger comes around, we can get out of there, fight or flight, right? And we don't have those tigers facing us down anymore, and so instead of just resting, we have the luxury of pursuing our full potential. But who's teaching that? Anybody ever been to school in a class on how to reach your full potential? I don't think so. And so there's the challenge for us to wake up that we can do much more than we normally do in the normal course of our lives. And that's what this organization is about, is to unleash and awaken people and then provide a structure to make that happen. So I really think that that's the biggest thing, is we like to be comfortably disengaged from things. It's the politicians' job to fix society. It's the corporations' jobs to give us a raise and make us enjoy our work. Well, that's bullshit. It's on us. It's on us to step up. And we have to do that now, because we have the biggest challenge ever facing humanity in front of us. And you can't just delegate that to a few activists. It's each one of us needs to do that. And then each one of us needs to encourage everybody else in our sphere of influence to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be, again, brief. One thing that's super simple to understand is that there's this concept called man versus the machine, but it's really Mother Nature versus mankind. And in today's world, almost, if not more, 1% of global electricity will be consumed by AI. Why is this relevant to you? Because insufficient energy is not the problem. It's the fact that we're building more electrical needs on the grid. And as that power is consumed, like right now in New York City and on the East Coast, they're starting to become a subtropical climate. What does that mean? A heat wave happens on the East Coast right now, the grid will shut down. There's blackouts right now as we're happening just because of the rising temperatures, right? So when you think about that, transitioning energy has been a big focus for people, but one of the biggest actual opportunities in our new earth that we're transitioning into is really in creating a living system. And then if you're familiar with regenerative design or permaculture, a living system is an ecosystem where each node or each part of the community can talk to one another. Each stakeholder has a seat at the table. So that, I think, is a grassroots effort that it won't become man versus machine or mankind versus Mother Nature, but it'd be a synchronicity between both stakeholders. What does mankind look like with Mother Nature as a partner? That is on an institutional level and on a community level.
Annie.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. One, I think that we have an education that makes us think like corporate thinking instead of civic thinking. So obviously our base of education really needs to change. And then, of course, the economics, in the sense we see the gap of the rich and the poor. And so we need to break down the systems, the political system, the economic system, the educational system, that do not work for us, that are destructive. And so what I feel is so many people get caught into the system and they don't know how to get out of it. So that's what I feel we need to do, is we need to create these new pathways, these new ways of bringing life in, like the regenerative systems, the eco-villages, the intention of creating, living in balance and in harmony. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think there's an extraordinary survey done recently that showed, they surveyed 135 countries, 130,000 people. They found that 89% of the population, world's population, wanted their governments to do more about climate change. When they were asked how many other people they thought shared their opinion, they thought it was 40%. So when they were told that they were in vast majority, their willingness to give more to the cause of climate action increased dramatically. So I think the greatest challenge, in my view, is to convert the large amount of hopelessness and apathy that people are feeling out there. They feel that the problem is far too big for any of them to deal with. If we can activate them, motivate them, as I think Lauren O'Connor said yesterday, give them, turn anxiety into agency, I think we have the biggest opportunity imaginable in terms of the fight for climate change. And I think that, to me, it certainly is our biggest challenge.
Yo les voy a explicar
I'm
lo que
gonna explain you
dice
guys
el espíritu de cascada.
what the waterfalls say, the spirit waterfalls say. I want to explain you guys.
El espíritu de cascada lo que nos dice a los humanos es, nosotros primero comenzamos a valorar mucho el mundo de la ciencia, religión.
The spirit first, the waterfall spirit told me the human value more the religion and the science.
Y concentramos en ese mundo.
And we just focus on that world.
Y después comenzamos a trascender
And then we start
en nuestra
transition.
propia evolución, donde comenzamos a inventar cosas.
And then we start growing in our own evolution to we start make things.
En esa evolución hemos creado
In the
tecnologías,
evolution, we've been created technology.
hemos creado ciencias
We are creating science
y desequilibrio entre humanos.
and no equilibrio. We don't have even in our humans. We like uneven in our humans.
Entonces, ahora hemos llegado a un punto de caos.
And now we're at the point that we have chaos in the world.
Y en ese punto no podemos salir de esa situación. Estamos
And that point, we not be able to get out of that situation.
y tenemos muchas formas de explicar ese caos del mundo.
And we have many, many ways to explain that chaos in the world.
Pero ese caos del mundo es mundo humano.
But that chaos of that world is a human world.
Entonces, para salir de ese caos, lo que pide el espíritu
To get out
del
that
agua,
chaos, well,
es-
as the spirit,
tenemos que salir de ahí, entrar en un vacío.
we need to get out from that world and be an emptiness world.
En ese vacío vamos a aprender, cambiar nuestra forma de pensar
In that emptiness world, we're going to change our way to think.
y otra vez llegar al pasado.
And then we have to go back to the past.
En el pasado hay la respuesta para otra vez replantear nuestra vida,
In the
cómo
past.
tenemos que seguir viviendo en este mundo.
And the past is the answer, what we have to do in this life to know how we living through now.
Entonces,
Then
para salir de este caos
to get out of this chaos
solamente es nuestra decisión,
is only our own decision,
decisión humana.
a human decision.
Y ahí vamos a dar esta salida y todos vamos a vivir felices.
And then as we find the solution and everybody, we're going to live happy.
Gracias. Itzaje.
Thank you.
Gracias. So, thank you so much, Manari. Yeah. Joshua, let's pick up with, let's start talking about, because we've been asked to talk about solving. We can articulate our problems till the cows come home. You started talking about energy. What developments excite you most in terms of the field of energy and the issues you were talking about?
The biggest issue right now is that global consumption of energy is right now placed on governments, and it's not sustainable. It's broken. It's not going to be fixed.
Yep.
And at this point, it's going to become hyper local. Solar was the first phase of localizing energy through like community solar and other types of projects, even virtual power plants. But in reality, what you're going to start seeing is more lithium-ion batteries, like the Tesla battery. Most people, if you're a homeowner that have a Tesla battery, probably sell their energy back to the grid. And that is probably not the best option, but it's the right now option. So as we transition from what I consider municipality-controlled energy, we're going to focus on hyper-local energy that's efficient and conducive. And it also becomes an asset. Right now, if you think about the energy markets, there's a retail market and a wholesale market. People that are wholesaling energy, day trade it on the retail side. And there's a whole, gray area of that. I won't get into the whole details of it, but there's a value right now of community-based capitalism where we can create a new asset class for everyday people to invest in local green bonds, to invest in their local energy infrastructure. And that in itself is a sustainable solution, because when you shift it back on the community, it becomes an economic asset. It becomes not only an upside for the community in terms of gaining somewhat of a secondary or supplemental income, it also becomes something that could be stakeholder driven. If you're familiar with gentrification, there's something called community bargaining agreements, right? Where people, when they typically have a big development, the community comes together and they'll actually go against like a residential development or a commercial development that goes against the community's wants and needs. Well, energy should be treated the same way. But again, there's a partnership I shared earlier, which is Mother Nature and mankind having synchronicity. So one example is what I just gave, like doing green bonds with local citizens that create a more, upside for the community, and also understand how to localize it so it's not in a municipality. Because you already could see the track record. I don't need to explain it, right?
No. I mean, I recently learned that there are 200 individuals control the entire electricity supply in this country.
Yes.
And the opportunities for corruption in that are just astronomical. So everything you're talking about, turning the corporate into the local, I think it's tremendously important. Annie, what